Hi, today we're going to talk about um, concatenation and interpolation in Python. Concatenation and interpolation in Python, the difference between concatenation and interpolation in Python. So let me just quickly say the concatenation is just a way to join two or more strings together in Python using the plus operator. So let's look at it practically. So here we have the first name with the value of John and the last name with the value of Matthew. And then we have age, which is 10. And for the start, let's just use this one now. We say, my name is, and then plus, first name plus, empty quote plus with a space, and then last name. So let's run the code. So if I say Python 3 concatenation, then what we get here is my name is John Matthew. So you can see this has been able to join all these strings together. So it joined this thing here, the string, using a plus, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one. So one thing you need to have in mind when you're doing concatenation is that you need to add your own space. So if I remove this here right now, and then I run this code, you will see that John and Matthew has been merged together. John and Matthew are now together without any space. So concatenation requires you to add space by yourself. Okay, so I have to add a space with an empty quote, and then I have to put a space inside. If I remove the space, you will see then it still joins them together, and then without any space, which is going to make our sentence to look very bad. You know, so concatenation is good, but it requires more work. That means you need to add your own space every time you add your own space. um, the other thing that you need to know about concatenation that you need to understand is that it does not allow you to add anything. That is why it is called string concatenation. String concatenation meaning it only takes space. It only takes string. Okay, it only allow string for the concatenation to join two or more strings together. So, meaning that you cannot join anything except strings. Now, let me show you again. So, let's say my name is, then I will have plus equal, and I am plus age plus years old. Okay, then let me run the code. You see, when I run this code right now, you see here, it say at line 6, at line 6, it say line 6, which where we are printing, that type error can only concatenate string, not int to string. That means you cannot concatenate strings and integer together. We know that this number here is 10 is an integer. So you can only concatenate string and string to string, not integer and string. So with concatenation, you can't concatenate string and integer together. So in order to make this to work, it's either you go here and just put quotes on this 10, to convert it from being an integer to a string, and this would work. Let's make a space here quickly. Um, this this will work. But what if you don't have the access to always change your thing, or you don't want to change it from there? This is the right way to do it. You convert it with to a string here by using the normal conversion of to string, str. So you put the integer in the bracket, and before then you just type str, and this would fix the problem. This will fix this. You can see we're still getting the same result nicely. But then this becomes a lot of work. If you're doing concatenation using plus concatenation, this will require a lot of work. Number one, I have to put a space here. Okay. At the end, before the end of the quote, I put a space. Otherwise, it's not gonna space between is and John. You know, I have to always put a space everywhere here. I have to create empty quotes with a space. I have to put all these plus. I have to convert these to a string. So what if you have a large data? That means you have to do these things to all your data, everything. You need to convert, put a space. It can be quite a lot of work. You may end up having some bugs here and there. So concatenation is good when you're dealing with a small data, just a basic things that you can concatenate. We're going to get into the difference between concatenation and interpolation. We're going to get into interpolation later. Okay, so let's look at, so this is one of the things. So you have to convert the integer to a string. Let's look at another type of concatenation that we call join. Okay, join is another way to do concatenation, but it's just different thing from this one we just did right now. So join is, let me run this code so that you can see. You can see here it says ready, set, go. So join is a way to pick strings from a list and join them together with anything that you want to join them with. So there's something we call the separator. So this string here is called the separator. So this string is to join these words. So these items, ready, set, code. So join them together using whatever that we put here, whatever we put inside this quotation. So you just type the quote dot join, then bracket, then you put the thing that you want to join. Now remember again, the join keyword accepts a list. Okay, it takes in a list, and that list must contain strings only. That list must contain strings only. You can see how it's working. But if I go here now and say 4, it gives me an error, and the error says expect string instance, but a found integer. It's an int found. That means it's expecting everything here to be string only, no integer, no boolean, no float. Okay, let's say we say false here. It give an error. Again, it say found boolean, but want only strings. Okay, let's put 1.9. The same thing happens. It say found float. Okay, so but if I put another one, say done, it give me done. That means it only allows strings. So that thing you must understand about join. So it only allows you to join strings together, and it picked those strings from a list. So let's quickly look into the things that I put down here. Concatenation, the key point you have to, consider anytime you are dealing with concatenation, you must add your own space and punctuation. So you must add your own space. I mentioned that before, that you must add your own space. The second one is you have to join or glue numbers, wrap them in a string, like we did before. We said here, it couldn't allow this thing to run without converting this integer to a string. You see, otherwise Python will complain. It's going to give you an error. Okay, so you need to have this in mind anytime you're working with concatenation. And then interpolation, we mentioned about a separator. Okay, I said this is a separator. For example, right now, I can change this thing to be /, and then it's going to see here. I can change it to be a hashtag, and it's going to see it here like this. So it can change it to anything. You can make it an empty, you're going to still work, So it's called separator. That's what separates all these items that are in the list the moment it joins them together. That's something you must have in mind. It can be anything. So now when to use this is when you're working with when to use is when you're working with a list. You want to pick every item or element in the list and then or array and join them together. It's faster in performance. So instead of for you to like use a loop and say for word in words, and then you kind of say word, word plus, equals something like this. It's better to use a join. So join will be faster. So the join will actually look through the list and be able to pick all the words one by one and join them with this separator that we have here. So that you need to have in mind. Okay, so performance, it's the best when it comes to performance. It's faster when it comes to the performance. Okay, I think that's all you need to know about this concatenation. So let's quickly go to interpolation quickly. Let's quickly go to interpolation. So interpolation, on the other hand, it's also joining two or more things together. But interpolation will do all the work for you. Like you don't have to create your own space. You don't have to convert the integer to be strings and all this extra work that you have to do with concatenation. With interpolation, it does that for you. Now let's look at different type of interpolation. The first type we want to look into here is the one we use like index location, okay, and the format. So this is the format, okay. The format inbuilt function in interpolation will put this thing the way that you want. Let's say we have this sentence, welcome, curly brace 0, you have curly brace 1, new messages. So the first time this is going to run in print here, you're going to go to template, which contains this thing, and then it says format. Then it's going to take this thing. So here, John, it's at index 0. So remember, this thing here will enter here. Okay, so enter here. So now, John represent index 0, and this is the index 0. If you have worked with list before, you understand what I'm talking about. And then 5 represent index 1, and this thing here represent index 1. So you are saying put John at index 0. So you're going to remove this thing and put John like this. Okay, that's what it means. So yeah, so let's run the code and see the result. Okay, so we're gonna say Python 3, and then we're gonna type interpolation. What did I type here? Python 3 interpolation. Okay, it says, welcome, John. You have 5 new messages. So you can see here that this John here goes inside this curly brace with 0, and the 5 goes inside curly brace with 1. So that's what it's happening. So let's say we put 2 here, okay? It gives us an error. You say the index 2 is out of range. It said there's nothing at index 2. That means we only have John, which is 0, 5, which is now 1. But if I put 3 here, then you're going to see 3 as index 2. Okay, so you need to understand the indexing to be able to use it in this way. But this is only for Python. This is the old way of doing it. There's a new way, which I'm going to show you later. It's an old way of doing it, which is available in Python 2. Okay, so, but then let's say I change this thing here to be 1 and change this one here to be 0. You will see the result we're going to get. You can say welcome 5. You have John new messages, which is saying that it's now taking the thing. It's saying John is 0, but now because we say put it at index, put it here. Okay, sorry. Put it here. So you are reversing the whole thing Okay, so that's quite easy to understand. It's not a complicated thing. So you are just reversing the whole thing instead of, so you need to know which position that something need to go into. Okay, this is because you want this thing to appear at index 0. You have to put 0 here. If you put 1 here, that's when you're going to have a problem. You're going to reverse John to be index 1. If you put 1 here, you're going to put John at index, I'm sorry, you're going to put 5. I meant to say, sorry for that. You're going to put 5 at index 1. Okay, I'm going to put 5 at index 1. So you need to know where you're supposed to put your argument. So these things here are called argument. So you need to know where to put your argument. So you are saying this is index 1, put it here. This is index 0, put it here. So you need to know the order very well in order for you to work with this kind of formatting. Okay, so I'm going to explain what formatting means in this. The other way of doing it, again, is this way. Okay, we have the same sentence, but now we're using what is called keyword. Okay, we're using keyword argument, meaning we put the same thing here, but instead of putting zeros and one, all this number, we put of the variable argument. The name of the variable argument. Now I'm going to explain. So let's run the code. We're going to get the same result again. You see, welcome, John. You have 5 new messages. So what this is doing is saying when you put any name here, like the way we have format, name, and then equal to John. So when you say name, this thing knows that name is equal to John. So you're going to put John here. You say alert here. This thing knows alert is equal to 5. We're going to put 5 here. So using a keyword, meaning there's a key that you need to use to unlock the value. Okay, that means, so you need to, this is much easier if you don't want to make a mistake with this indexing. It's much easier to use. Now let's go to the last one. The last one here, okay, let's talk about this. Let me show you this as well. Interpolation old school format. That means the one we use in Python 2. You put the placeholder, which is the curly brace, in your sentence and call it format to fill them. Placeholder can be position 0, 1, or name player. So you can name it. It's a keyword. You name it. Okay. Then why learn it? This one is mostly in old projects. If you're working for a company and then their old project that they did with Python 2, they mostly use something like this where they say format. Okay. The modern way of doing it, in Python 3, which is the easiest way, is this way, using what is called f string. Okay. F string. So let me run the code again. And then you see here, I'm going to clear this out. Welcome, John. You have 5 new messages. Just the same thing coming. So you can look here. This one is much easier. You have a variable that is equal to John and alert equal to 5. So you have this here. And then when you put F here, you start your opening quote and then your closing quote. Everything will be inside this opening and closing quotation. Okay, then, but remember, you have to type F here. Okay, before you put this quotation that close and end. And then anytime you want to put any variable inside, you have to also create the curly brace. So every variable needs to be inside the curly brace. Okay, and it's just the same thing. So now let me show you, it's the same thing. Let me show you now the difference between this and this. You can see that when we say welcome name, you have alert. Alert is an integer. But we didn't have to say str like we did in concatenation. concatenation here, we say str because this is an integer. So one thing good with interpolation is that interpolation will convert the whole thing for you. You don't have to do the conversion, the spacing. Interpolation will do all this work for you. It knows, so that's why it's the newest way to put join things together, because you don't have to always add your own space, always convert the integer into a string by using str and all that. So the code becomes much um, easier to read. Okay, and less errors you're gonna have, and that's how the um, interpolation work. So the F is the newest way and the easiest way to use interpolation. And let's look at this. Okay, so you add an F, opening quote, drop the variable inside the curly brace, and the Python will evaluate the curly brace expression and insert the result. So Python will check this curly brace and look at this variable and get the value of the variable and put it inside here. Okay, and yeah, anything inside is automatically turned into a text. So anything inside the curly brace will automatically be turned into a text. So you don't have to change it by manually, like using str. Okay, you can do maths on it as well. You can say 3 times 3, 3 times 4, and then you can see it gives you 12. So you don't have to do any conversion to convert anything. So this make your work much easier and easier to read as well for other people. So what is format? Okay, so this F here represent format. So this is a short form of saying format. So F, if you look here, this one we did before, there's a format here. You see this format. So this F is just a short form of saying format for this newest, easiest way to do interpolation. Okay, and what is format? To format something, let me give you what Python is talking about. Let me just make this bigger. Format, what Python is really talking about here. When Python or any programming language talks about formatting text, it's asking you to take some raw data, e.g., numbers, dates, names, whatever, and change them into something, into a string that somebody can read and understand better, you know, and it can be changing the font, the size, the color. That's what it means to format something. For example, anyway, that's for the end of today's lesson about concatenation and interpolation. If you have any question, you can share it on this. You can leave a comment, and don't forget to follow or to subscribe.